Hello, hello, and welcome along to the first episode of a new campaign. Today, we will be playing... Oh my fucking god. Josh, what is that? What is that? Why have you done that? Get out. Great. Okay, today is the first episode of our In the Darkness Lurks campaign. A campaign set in the Underdark. A dark, slightly horrific, I guess, campaign. That is, there's a lot of horror going on. There's a lot of atmosphere, a lot of ambience. Please bear in mind that if you are watching this, YouTube or Twitch alike, there are a lot of adult themes in this campaign. Be prepared for that. If it makes you uncomfortable, fuck off. And without further ado, in this campaign, I have playing with me, if you would only state your name and your character name, please, nothing further, and your base class. Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh. Today I will be playing Sky Silveron, who is a Winter Elegant Elf Sorcerer.
I have Bruno.
Hey, I'm playing Zoroaster Silveron, also an Eladrin who is a Paladin.
I have A-Game.
Hi, I'm A-Game. I'm playing as Garrett Kenrock, the Orc Druid.
I have Darth.
I'm Darth. I will be playing Yum, also known as Chioda, a changeling bard of eloquence.
And I have James.
Hey, I'm James. I am playing Octavian Oberlin, the half-elf rogue.
I knew you guys could do it. I'm so proud of you. Cool. So, without further ado, welcome to the campaign. Welcome along. And I hope you enjoy. The Underdark. Never once does a star grace this land with a poet's light. Nor does the sun send to here its rays of warmth and life. It is the Underdark, whose sky is a ceiling of heartless stone, and whose walls show the grey blandness of death. And the torchlight of the foolish surface dwellers who stumble here. This is not their world, this world without light. This is not your world. Dark corridors meandering endlessly in winding courses, connecting vast caverns with tight corridors. Mounds of stone as pointed as the teeth of a sleeping dragon leer down in silent threat, or rise up from the darkness to obstruct your way. There is a silence here, its weight both profound and foreboding. The crouched hush of a predator at work. Too often, the only sound, the only reminder that you can hear, is the distant echoing of dripping water and the too loud breath that you expel as you release your fear. Like the heart of a great beast slipping through the silent stones to the deep underdark pools of chilled water. The drip, drip, drip reminds you not only of the passing time, but that you are alive. But what is time when you are here in this great darkness, in this lightless world? What secret awaits you in the darkness? What horrors lie on your path ahead? Only imagination can reveal. This is the Underdark. A realm of endless labyrinthine tunnels where the sun never shines, filled with races and creatures too numerous to count that no surface dweller could recognize anyway. And foremost amongst these, the drow. Hated and feared even by their fellow dwellers in the darkness, the drow raid other settlements in the Underdark on the surface world, taking prisoners back with them, unconscious with the infamous drow poison, and then collared and shackled. These prisoners become slaves if they're lucky. Entertainment, occasionally. And if they're unlucky, food for the mysterious and miscellaneous creatures that the drow keep as pets. Captured by the drow. You would not wish this fate on anyone, and yet, here you are. Locked in this dark cave, the cold, heavy weight of metal around your throat and your wrists. And you are not alone. As you move into the cramped cave, you see other prisoners here with you. The underground outpost is far, far from the light of the sun. Some of you may have come from other drow outposts, some straight from the surface. Capture isn't all that unfamiliar anymore to some of you, but this place, this is new. Mistress Ilvara of House Mizrim seems to be the priestess in charge of this outpost. Robed in silken garments and flanked by two male drow, one with a massive scars across his face and neck, she smiles at you as she ushers you into the cave that is to be your prison. The five of you shackled together, front to back, shackled at the arms and shackled at the feet. She ushers you into the cave that is to be your prison. And as the metal clanks, you see the hiss of her scourge of snakes riding towards you in the darkness. She leans a little closer and she whispers to you. And as she whispers, you can smell the sweetness of berries on her breath. As she says to you, accept your fate. Learn to obey, and you may just survive. You find yourself moving into what is a fairly cramped corridor. And at the moment, you hear other prisoners ahead of you, but you don't see them. Right now, you just see a path ahead, dimly lit by strange crystals. Two of you have met, obviously. Zoroaster and Sky. But the others, in the darkness, with no light, you were shackled together, and this is the first time you've really had a chance to be able to turn and see your face of those who are shackled to you. This is an uncomfortable place. I hand over to you.
James, do you not want us to describe our characters?
No, I don't.
Octavian
Not yet.
is going to turn to the orc of the group and say, "You, big man, do you speak the common tongue?"
You'll see the orc a bit dirtied and grimy. Look to you, and he will speak a fluent common.
Of course I speak common.
Listen to me well. I come from a family that has more precious metal in the shape of coins than the amount of sparse metal cast into weapons and armaments in the largest standing army above ground. If you, these shackles should be nothing for a man of your stature. If you free yourself and free me, I will ensure you are repaid 10 times your weight in wealth.
Muster up a little bit of drill in mouth and spit in the ground.
Gold. You think I am foolish enough to do this right now? I would not risk my life for your gold.
If you'd not risk your life for my gold, then what would you risk your life for?
As you're having this discussion, a deep gnome comes into sight. You can see he has piercings still, though the iron that is in them seems to be very rusted. And he looks at you and... Do we speak of gold? I like gold. And,
Do you now?
I do indeed. Welcome. Guys, just to make you aware, I am showing you their images, but obviously you will get a lot of description of their class. Don't worry too much about that now. And he looks at you and... I'm Jim Jar. And who might you be? And this question is first of all addressed to he who is speaking of gold. James, please, describe your character.
I am a half-elf. I'm just under 6 feet tall, long blonde hair, piercing green eyes. Octavian would not be very strong, more of a lean body. What would I be dressed in?
Right now, you wear a loincloth and a pair of shackles. Happy Christmas.
I'm wearing a loincloth, a pair of shackles. However,
That's it.
I do not...
And sorry, it should be mentioned. Underdark sandals that are sort of... they're like normal sandals, except what secures them to your feet is rope tied around your ankle.
Okay, and just a question about the shackles. Are there shackles on arms and legs?
Yes, so you are shackled at the feet with a loose chain between your feet. A loose chain brings you up, and in fact, I will demonstrate with an image just to make life easier. You haven't met this girl yet, but that is the nature of your chains. You should all be able to see that. Did that pop up for everybody? Or did I fuck up? Yep, cool.
Yes.
So there is a halfling there. She is shackled. So wrists to ankles, ankles to each other. Your wrists are not shackled to each other, that is worth mentioning. And as you were let in, one by one, the shackles that were connecting you to the person behind you were removed. The chain. Sorry. He looks at you and, what's your name?
Octavian Oberlin.
And do I smell elf?
A bit of it, half of it.
The drow will love you. And who have you got with you? And he looks over to Yum. Duff, please describe your character for us.
Yum presently is a fairly youngish looking changeling in changeling form, in the prisoner clothing, shackles, looking quite depressed and defeated. They call me Yum, sir.
They might indeed, especially the Driders. Tasty you'll be. And who's that? Hiding in the back? Josh, please describe your character.
So Sky is a winter Eladrin elf. So he has very pale blue skin and pure white shaggy hair. He's about 5'7", but he's very skinny and scrawny, and there's really not much to him. Yeah, he's just kind of... I mean, I can't see, so he's kind of looking around, trying to see if he can see.
You can't see anything at all?
No, I mean, like, I can't see my brother.
Can't you?
No, I can only see... Oh, never mind, he stood right next to me.
Yeah, there should also be a purple light sort of emanating around you, so you should be able to see everybody. Cool.
Okay.
Sorry. He looks at you. Name?
My name's Sky.
And do I smell elf?
You could probably smell a lot of things.
But are you an elf? It's important.
Yeah. Yes, I am somewhat of an elf.
And what about you? Bruno, please describe your character.
So you can see Zoroaster standing slightly ahead of Sky, especially after the unknown individual stepped up and spoke to him. He takes a more defensive stance, and as he comes out of
the unknown individual is 2'2", by the way, just in case.
That one.
Yeah.
And as Zoroaster comes out of the shadows, you can kind of see the tips of his orange hair and his olive eyes gleam with the fire. He's standing at 6'1", and he looks relatively young for an elf. And as the man inquires him, he just kind of looks down and, still standing at the Sky, and says, Zoroaster.
And what about you, big man? Who are you? Again, please describe your character.
Alright. Garrig is a 6'2" orc of green skin and a built frame. He appears grimy, dirty, and somewhat bloodied in some areas, as his body is mostly covered in large amounts of hair, akin to a freshly cut bear in regards to how much there is. All of which is somewhat gray to an extent, showing some of his age. His face contains rather aggressive, light blue eyes, a small chin beard, and two large tusks jutting out of his mouth. His hands and feet especially are strange with long, elongated, sharp nails and toenails.
Nice. He looks back to Octavian and... You at the front, do you have how much elf are you?
Just half of one.
Exactly half? That's important.
I wish I knew my lineage better.
Is there anyone else with you? No. He turns around and looks behind you and... Opino! We're gonna have to call the bed off! They're exactly 50% elf! And he looks to you all and, come on then! Don't stand at the doorway! Come on in! Meet the rest of us! And he begins to lead the way down this corridor. To the end. You can follow him round until you find yourselves in a larger chamber. You cannot walk through walls. I see you. Yeah, as you walk down this corridor, it is cold, it is oppressive, apparently some of you can walk through walls, but it's all lit by these strange crystals that glow from the sides of the cavern. At the very center of the cavern, as you come around the corner, is a large purple crystal. You can stop there, unless you're lost over here. Stay there where you are if you don't mind, guys. As you step into the sort of entrance here, you see a gentleman in front of you who is of a race that none of you recognize. He's a little unusual in face. He stands sort of 2.5 foot tall, braided beard in front of you, and as you step into the purple light, he looks at you. Exactly half elf. The money's off, I guess. Well, tragedy. I'm Bopido. A pleasure, one and all. I'm a Darrow, if you surface dwellers don't know what that is. Don't worry, over there we have the twins. And he gestures up to the north, and behind me we have the dwarf, and the Kuatoa that's not mad, the mushroom that talks, and the Quaggoth that insists he isn't a Quaggoth. There's some others, but don't worry too much about them. Pleasure to meet you. Come on in. And, he steps back, allowing you all to come closer to the main fire, at which point the female dwarf steps forward. And says, oh, hi there. I'm Eldeth. Don't mind these two. Oh. Surface dwellers are welcome, it would seem. You must be unsettled. Are you first-time prisoners?
That I am. I've only been a prisoner for perhaps 10 days, but who knows how long I've been down here.
10 days! Wow, fresh blood. What of the rest of you? Well, don't be shy. We're stuck here together for good. Sorry, Duff, go. Duff.
As he says that, I look particularly shy and almost embarrassed to speak up.
Oh, we've got a quiet one. Well. Greetings, elf, and somewhat elf. And then she sort of looks over and sees, I'm sorry, I will get your character names down quicker. Garrick, is that correct? Yes, yeah. Sees Garrick in the back and... Oh, we've got an orc. You'll find a friend over there. And she gestures towards the far left of the cavern. She then dismisses you and seems to pay you no attention thereafter.
Are these crystals like giving off heat?
Nope. The Underdark is a fairly temperate place at all times. The temperature doesn't really change all that much. If you get a little too close to sort of deep earth, it gets warm. Occasionally you will find molten streams of lava, etc. If you get a little close to the surface, sometimes the air will find its way down, but for the most part, it's tepid. In just your loincloth, you're probably not a comfortable temperature, but you're definitely not shivering.
Is it humid at all? Is it moist?
No, not really. Not here, at least. But as you were walked through the Underdark, there were areas where there seems to be water in the air. There were also areas where there seems to be vapors or smokes or strange smells coming to you. But if anything, what you can smell in here is the stench of human waste or humanoid waste. These prisoners don't live nicely.
Well, I guess I'm gonna look around and see if I can find a bed.
Nope. You find a cave. But you can have a look for a bed.
I mean, like a bed, like a bedroll, some hay, pieces of cloth I can use as a pillow.
Nope. A mushroom. A gentleman.
I'll fold my rope.
A bit rope? What rope?
Yeah, I'm gonna fold my I have a piece.
You've managed to keep hold of 6 feet of rope, haven't you? Yes, a gentleman comes
fold
out.
it, make a pillow.
Bearded fellow. He stands tall, very tall, in fact, almost 7'6", 7.5 feet tall, and he stoops over a little bit, and you can see he's a little ungainly in the dark. And he sort of peers out at you. Are you from the surface? Any of you have come from surface?
Yes, not that long ago.
What do you know of the Urthgard tribe?
Would it be something I could have read in a book?
Possibly, or even encountered on the wayside. Whereabouts in the Forgotten Realms are you from, do you know?
No, the thing with Octavian is that he was kept in his family's house
Right.
his entire life.
Great. So I'll take a history check. Yeah.
Sure.
Pure history check.
I have a question whilst he's rolling. If we're only got loincloths on, where did Zora hide them?
Well, in fact, that's a really good question. Some of you may have managed
I
to...
it around my... Oh, sorry, carry on.
Well, yes, I mean, perhaps you know exactly how you've hidden your rope, but some of you are carrying various objects that you've kept. The truth is, the guards don't really pay much attention. You're chained together, they're surrounding you, they are drow, they are superior to your mediocre and pointless races. And frankly, they don't give a damn. Knife or sword, they will best you. Your
No,
magic
I
is
know.
suppressed,
I'm just
so-
joking.
Yeah, no, okay, which is worth mentioning. They really don't give a shit. What was your history check, James?
It was 14 plus 4, so 18.
18. Whilst you may have heard tales of the Uthgard tribe, you know nothing of their recent lives.
I've maybe read about it in a book once, but nothing comes to mind of recent events.
That is not good. I had hopes. Did you see the sun? It doesn't rise down here. It's very strange.
When you ask if I've seen the sun, do you mean in my life or how recently?
Is it there in the surface?
I believe so. I spend a lot of time inside, but...
Ah! The sun is still out. We just cannot find it yet. It will come to us in time. As he says this, the Kuatoa that stands directly in front of you. Oh, sorry, I missed. I'm just going to ping you two things at once because I didn't send you a picture of Urgol, who will introduce himself. I am Urgol. The Kuatoa looks at him and, don't mind him. He is not the most informed. Well, you'll come to accept your imprisonment in time, I guess. I'm
Is
Shusha.
that so? How long did it take you to accept your imprisonment?
It was easier for me. I have accepted my place in this world long ago. I am at peace, one could say. The thing is, my kind, the Kuatoa, they descend into madness at a young age. They're all quite insane. I have spent years in contemplation and meditation to avoid such a fate. I follow the way of mercy. He nods his head. Urgol here is not quite so gentle, and a little challenged in the mental department. And Eldith leans over and, he's an idiot! Aren't you, Urgol? She pats him on the back, and Urgol is not idiot. Thank you. Urgol, go back to over there. You, and then she points at Garrick. You might want to come. I have friend for you. Us big fellow, we stick together, you know. It is cramped down here. And he gestures for you to follow Garrick, if you will.
I'm intrigued, so I will follow along.
Okay. He leads you over to the left-hand side of the cavern, where you see another orc. He looks at you and grunts at you in Orcish. He says, greetings. To which tribe do you belong? I don't think we know each other.
Respond back in Orcish.
Greeting. I'm from the Horcox tribe.
That is something, I guess. Well, my name is Ront. I fled from the drow. I am of the Ice Shield tribe, and my cowardice has earned me a place down here. What mistake did you make for Grumsh to so punish you? You're muted.
Keep doing too lot. What?
Welcome back.
Oh, okay. All right. I said that louder now.
My punishment. My punishment was simply trying to help those that I care for.
Grumsh does punish the weak, and the weak of mind. Mercy is for fishfolk, like the man over there, and dwarves. At this moment, you hear a sort of muttering in the corner, down to the right. It's okay, don't worry, it won't be long. We'll find a way to get your soul to rest. Don't worry, it's okay. We'll find a way to get your soul to rest. Oh. Please, stop shouting! Stop shouting! This is the voice you hear from the southeast. If you look over, you see that very halfling in chains.
What's going on over there?
She is quite mad. She hears the dead. And Urgol turns around here. Urgol does not think she is mad. She is a priest, or was before she came down here. She speaks to the dead, but she has not found any of my folk down here. So they must still live. All of you can hear this halfling. She continues, please stop shouting! Stop shouting!
I'm gonna, as all the, like, these conversations and stuff are happening, Sky's just kind of stood there very still, like his eyes darting to different people, but not really saying anything. And then I'm gonna open up a telepathic conversation with Zora, which he's very used to. Would it be abnormal to suddenly hear Sky's voice in his head? And I'm just gonna softly say to him, so do you see any of these people that you want to be friends with?
There's a nice rock over there.
Work with that.
Zora will just continue to speak as if you didn't say anything, and he'll say, do you think the drow here will be any crueler than they were before?
I stopped measuring cruelty quite a few years back, but I hope not. For both of our sakes.
Found any comfortable dirt yet?
We should find somewhere where we can sleep and figure out how the food works here. Also, these people are giving off a really bad vibe.
The urge to be like, it's giving. If you catch Sky's eyes, he'll just nod to you, and he'll start not really walking around, but like at a very glacial pace, like kind of drifting around, seeing how big this cave, not cave, but how big this opening is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you catch Zoroaster, he'll look at you and go, and he'll walk with you, in reference to the people.
Yeah. So Zora will throw you a wink at that.
Okay.
That he agrees with you.
Some of the people that you see, but who don't speak. We'll start off at the center. You all see what appears to be a mushroom with a quite happy, pleasant face. Well, it's not much of a face there. But bear in mind, he's the picture on the left. The picture on the right is a generic Myconid image. So he's the small dude with a little head. He's sort of stepping around. He doesn't say anything, but he also doesn't seem particularly afraid of you. And he and the Kuatoa seem to be relatively well engaged with each other. Here you see a Quaggoth standing very tall. You may not be familiar with Quaggoth, those of you who are from the surface, but he looks like that, a nasty-looking creature. He stands almost 10 foot tall, hunched over a little bit, sort of nasty-looking jaw. He looks pretty aggressive, pretty violent, pretty scary. Standing to the north, you see twins, two deep gnomes who turn to each other regularly. And if you get close enough, they will simply talk long enough to say, "I'm Topsy, I'm Turvy." That's all you get from them. Turvy is the male, Topsy is the female. They don't seem to be particularly interested in engaging in conversation unless you are interested in engaging them in conversation.
What were their races? Sorry.
They're both deep gnomes. The female is Turvy, the male is Topsy. You should be able to see this by... Oh, no, maybe not. I didn't put that in. Yeah. But most of the stuff is in the handouts, so you should be able to see them as they're popping up. Obviously, you've met Ront and Urgel, the orc and barbarian, over to the left. But a couple that maybe none of you have noticed, although they will... They do both leer at Yum quite a lot from across the room, are a drow and a tiefling. The drow is male. Yes, exactly there, whoever just pinged. If you want to ping again. The drow is male. He's quite beautiful. He is relatively well kept, considering that he's in captivity. Well groomed, if you like. And the female is a tiefling. She is purple. Again, a little well kept. And the two of them are conversing quite rapidly in Undercommon. The Silveron brothers... in fact, I think everybody other than... Names. Everybody other than Octavian, I think, will speak Undercommon. By now, you've all been prisoner for long enough. You've picked up on the language. But, yeah, you'll notice those two conversing. And those of you who are particularly perceptive will, at the bottom corner, see a very small kobold with mismatched eyes who holds back against the wall and makes no effort or attempt to make contact with any of you.
You go to the kobold.
Met Borpidon. Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Head down there. This is Mebil. He looks up at you. Bikara? Do you speak Draconic?
No.
Okay. He looks at you for a moment and then... Hello? He says in Undercommon.
Well met.
Is it? I can't think of many worse places to meet. I'm Mebel.
Me too. I'm Zoroaster, but you can call me Zora.
You're new here?
Yeah. And I noticed you were just standing here by yourself.
I don't... Stool's okay, but most of the people here are loud.
I get that. I'm here with my brother. Is it okay if I call him over?
It's not exactly much space for privacy down here. Might as well get to know each other.
I know, but I thought I'd still ask. And I'll wave over to Sky.
As Sky moves over, leaving the three of you together, Eldest will sort of look a little closely. Sorry, two of you together. I believe. Have I lost one of you? Yes, Octavian and Yum. Eldest, the dwarf, looks to the two of you and. So you're new down here. What have you? And she looks to Yum. Are you fresh?
Suppose you can say that.
Well, that's nice, isn't it? Don't worry. They don't cut us for another 2 days.
Pardon?
They don't cut us for another 2 days. Today's a work day. Well, was. Tomorrow's a work day. After that, they bleed us. Then it's a work day. Then it's a work day. Then they bleed us. Then it's a work day. Then it's a work day. Then they bleed us. And they stick funny things in our head and suck our souls out. And then we're back to the day one again. It gets repetitive after a while.
And when you say bleed us, what does that mean per se?
Usually it's the arms. Some of us have grown too many scars now, so they've started on the legs. They make a cut. They catch the blood, they go off, they take it in their vials, and no one really knows what they do with it.
I had rather you not told me about that.
Really? You'd rather have just found out when they cut you? Trust me, it's better to be warned.
That's all I'll think about until it happens. But
Oh, don't worry, it's not so bad. It's the soul sucking you've got to watch for. That happens next week.
That's
such
just
a wonderful
horrifying.
place.
Horrifying? Well, yes, I suppose it is. You're in capture by the drow. It's pretty horrifying as it goes, but we're going to escape some point, aren't we? And she elbows Stool, who's a little mushroom, by the way. Aren't we? And Stool pipes up. Yep. Escape.
Where is... Okay, so... Sorry, I'm just going to make one interjection.
Yep.
I moved Octavian beside Prince without knowing what he was.
Yes, you can move away. Suddenly and slowly.
Octavian is going... mixing through the dark, Octavian got closer to the light, but then realized Prince exists and is what he is, and is going to move back over closer to...
As you move away, he looks at you and addresses you in fairly high accented Elvish. Don't be afraid.
Octavian will turn back and say, responding in Elvish, I have nothing to fear from you?
No, I'm not really like this. I was polymorphed this way by a curse. I'm Prince Durendil of the kingdom of Nelvindenvein in the High Forest. My crown was usurped by Terrestrial, and he trapped me in this form. I know it's quite horrific, but we can be friends, don't worry.
I would be more than willing to be friends with a gentle soul like you, sir.
Well, of course. It's been a while since I sipped Fey wine, but us elven folk have got to stick together to some point. The dwarf, hearing this, sort of... He only speaks Elvish now. He thinks it's the thing to do. Well, we've all had to learn it bit by bit. Otherwise the idiot just babbles at us anyway. He's quite insane. He's quite clearly not an elf. I mean, look at him. He's sort of... Please excuse her. She's a little let's just say she takes out her frustrations on others.
Well, regardless of if you're elf or not, you're friendly enough, more so than your appearance. And even if you do look as you do, I would say that might be an asset down here more than anything.
Oh, indeed, I wish it was, but frankly the drow seem quite unintimidated. Ah, well.
That is a shame.
He might be useful on our escape, though.
Hope so. How long have you been down here?
The dwarf turns to you and... Just over a century. Give or take a few years here or there. As far as I can tell.
I don't have that kind of time.
No?
No.
You seem to
No, a
have
century.
the ears of an elf.
I don't have the full blood of an elf.
Ah, well. Perhaps you'll have a few decades left in you when you get out. Oh, as I said, we'd like to get out of here sooner rather than later. This is a temporary outpost. You're lucky to have been posted here. If there's any way you can make an escape from these damn drow, it's going to be here. I believe they call it Velkynvelve.
I am.
Well, I hope you do have.
Go
Well, I hope you do have an escape plan, because I just want to go home.
But of course we all want to go home, and as for a plan, well, we've had a few, but as yet, none of them have worked. Dare I say, partly due to the lack of cooperation between these idiots. She gestures to those around her. You hear a sort of creaking open of the gate, and striding into the room quite casually is a female drow. She wears a silken robe and looks quite relaxed. Sorry, bear with me a second. I've lost her. Here we go. She wears a silken robe and looks quite relaxed as she steps in. And she places a sort of large, sort of a foot deep by a foot wide cauldron on the ground. And happy eatings. See you soon. She
Jim just takes a few steps away.
And as she goes to walk away, I nearly forgot. And she reaches out her hand, and you see her, like, make a motion, and then yank. And Jim Jar is pulled one step closer to her. She leans in gently and caresses his chin. He is 3 foot shorter than her. She takes his chin, and with a sharp jerk, she breaks his neck. She reaches down and, with fairly muscled arms, picks him up by the ankle and throws him over her shoulder. He made a mistake. Don't do the same. And she begins to leave. You may put a line through whatever notes you had on Jimjo. There's no more Jimjo.
I don't take NPC notes, so the joke's on her. So what does
Mebble?
Mebble say?
Yeah, sort of once you arrive, he greets Sky and sort of, "Hi, I'm Mebble."
Hi, I'm Sky. Do you know what that mistake was?
I'm sure it could be any number of things, but I don't think he made a mistake. I think that was a warning. He can be quite annoying to the gods sometimes. Could be, I guess. I think he was a warning to you all.
To us? Oh,
When there are new prisoners, especially a few of them, they kill one off. Just a way of saying that our lives are meaningless and pointless.
so that could have been any of us.
Yeah.
Well, this is a dreadful situation.
That's correct.
I'll
I
sit down.
slowly start.
Sorry, Darth, you cut out. You slowly start.
I'm gonna slowly start walking towards Vela.
She turns to you
And
and...
on the
Ah, hello. You walk in the land of the living.
unlike our friends.
He was sad to go. He's... thought he had further to walk on his journey in life. Ah, tragic.
Here and now?
Sometimes I hear many whispers. It's difficult to differentiate. Who are you? Are you new here?
Reasonably, yeah. I'm young.
Like... Yum? That's all.
Yeah.
They call me Vela. I was once Priestess Vela. That was a while ago.
So sorry for you.
Don't be sorry for me. Be sorry for you. You're down here too now. I find my own peace, I suppose. Try not to die, Yum. From the whispers, the process isn't pleasant. Was that the food? Oh,
Yes.
I suppose I could eat. Shall we get a bowl? Bowl.
Yeah.
During
Maybe-
this, sorry.
Go on.
During this conversation, can Octavian approach the pot?
Yeah. Inside the pot, you see sort of a brownish red liquid. It appears to be tepid in temperature, and floating about in it are different things. You think a couple of them are mushroom caps? It looks like it might be food. Doesn't smell good though. As you do
Cannot-
so, Eldeth will lean in and will reach her hand in and sort of nose about a bit, and eventually pulls out a small wooden bowl and takes a sort of drink from it, and then hands you the bowl. There's only one bowl, so you'd better share.
Thank you kindly, and Octavian will accept
Sorry,
the bowl. And
when you are gonna drink that, can you step the other side of the bowl? You won't keep it down the first time. I don't think, at least. Maybe you will. The orc did.
I'm no orc, nor strong of stomach.
No, you don't look it. You're a bit of a pansy, if I might say so. Good luck.
I appreciate you speaking the truth. We need those who can speak their minds, not hide truth in these times.
Or something.
Octavian will take a sip of
Make a con save.
I'm gonna go. So it's a saving throw?
Yep, con saving throw, please.
Oh, 16 plus 1, 17.
Nice. Yeah, you sort of take a sip. It's absolutely foul. It's cold. It's thick on your tongue. There are little bits that are slightly chewy, but not really chewy. They're a little slimy. And the smell is sort of a little acrid, a little acidic almost. It's actually difficult to sort of get down. And as you swallow, you're sure you felt something move.
Octavian is going to like retch on the verge of throwing up, but is able to keep it down, and slowly hands back the bowl, but takes some steps away from the cauldron.
She smiles and... Impressive. Oh. Jim Jar would have had a good wager on that. Rest in
I
peace,
had
his friend.
meant to ask him about his wager in terms of me being a half-elf or whatever the wager was.
No, but the bet with Pupito over there was, if more than half of you were elves, then Jim Jar won money, and, well, it seemed it was a 50-50 split. Most unusual.
Oh, I see, because I was a half-elf too. That makes...
No, 2.5 elves in your 5-person
Yes,
party.
that makes sense. I think a man who thinks with coin would be a man who would get along with me. It was a shame that he had to go in such a way.
Oh well, the drow's obsessed with coin too, but he's quite insane. Or at least I think he is.
I think everyone so far has had some descriptor of insanity, so it seems like it might be more of a normality to have some form of insanity down here.
As you say that, you hear this sort of cackle from over the side, and the tiefling steps a little closer and... Insane? Well, that might be right. I'm insane. And she walks past you, reaches to the bowl, grabs it, takes a sip, and looks at you. But I'm powerful. As soon as I can cast my magics, I'll be out of here. Nemea, by the way. Goodbye. And she begins to walk away.
Can Octavian follow her?
Yeah.
And say, you said you'll be able to escape once your magics are capable or whatnot.
I'm quite a powerful wizard. Wizardess? I don't really know where to go with that one. I'll leave it as it is. I'm quite a powerful wizard, but down here, the cavern suppresses our magic.
What would you need to enhance your magic?
Enhance? My magic is perfect as it is. There is no magic down here. You can't make it happen. There are powerful anti-magic fields on these cells. On all the cells down here. If I could take but one step outside them, I'd be gone! Flash of a light!
If you see an opportunity to do such...
I will leave!
An opportunity in which you need help to do so. I will be at your beck and call.
I'll hold you to that!
I hope so. If it means we both are able to leave, I will be at your side.
I doubt you'll be able to follow, but maybe you'll be useful. And with that, she calls out to everybody, "Dinner's disgusting!" And she heads on over to the corner, and we will pick up with Vela and Yum as Vela turns to you. Shall we get a bowl of food? I'm hungry.
If it'll sustain us, then yeah, please allow me to get the bowl for you.
You can't take the bowl away from the cauldron. They'll kill you. Or hurt you, at least. And she gestures towards the other prisoners. How come? It is time I spent an hour in the mortal realm. And she,
Please allow me to serve you.
Well, if you must, if it makes you happy to.
It's a
As you have
sense
this...
of
Go on, sorry.
normality, I guess. It's a sense of normality, I guess.
As you are having this conversation, Bupido looks to you. There is no normality down here. Only levels of insanity. The fishman might be the least insane of us all, and that's worrying. You don't want to hang out with Vela too long. You'll find yourselves hearing things that don't exist. She can no more see into the
I,
realm of death than I can walk through brick walls.
I appreciate your advice, but I will talk to who I wish.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. He sort of smiles and turns back to Octavian at the food and waits till the two of you are done. Actually, have walked away. Like if you serve Vela, Vela will sort of take the bowl and drink it and hand it back to you. Reminds me of home. Delightful. And she smiles.
Is it like?
Like slime and oil with a hint of blood. It's a little cooked. And she hands you the bowl and gestures if you wish to take a drink, eat, food thing.
I can't possibly tell everyone else has had some.
Oh, well, if that's what works for you. You don't want to go after Urgle, though. There'll be nothing left. Sorry, after Ront. There'll be nothing left, she says. As the two of them are having this discussion, Mebel looks to the two of you and... I have heard them talk of escape. You've been down here a while, haven't you? I'm waiting to escape again.
You are?
I escaped once. Not that long ago. I escaped from Menzoberranzan. It's a city of the drow.
How did you escape?
I hid in a food waste, and they tipped me into the water, and I swam away. And then they captured me in the tunnels, brought me here. I'm to be punished. It probably won't be nice.
Did you not have a way to fight?
Fight? He sort of gestures. The fact that he's just under 2 feet tall, and very thin-armed. I have a little magic, but only a little. I can make lights and images, but nothing to fight.
Well, considering we're surrounded by caves and darkness, the fact that you can make light is probably one of the most valuable things down here.
It can be blinding to the drow, but they still caught me. You must struggle down here. You can't see in the infrared light, can you? You don't see heat?
I've made my peace with the darkness many years ago.
Oh, that's a shame. I hope that you would want to fight for your freedom to go back to your home. I had a home once. It was very pretty. Very beautiful.
Sky is gonna walk away.
Oh, where does Sky go?
I'm gonna hang with him for a bit.
Where does Sky go? You going
He
to get
just-
some food?
God no. God no. I think like hearing. I mean, bless him. He's so sweet. Isn't he, right?
Yeah, Mebel's male.
Very sweet, but Sky really does not have the time nor patience to hear people's sad story. So he's just kind of, I don't know, he's not really going anywhere specific. He's just going away from it.
As you do so, the drow sort of looks at you and comes a little closer. And who might you be?
You notice the rest are like sharply looking back.
He smiles at you.
My name is Sky.
Kind of inappropriate down here, no? Must have been a while since you've seen the sky. Tragic.
What?
Tragic.
Oh, right. Sky, during this conversation, Sky's not keeping eye contact with him. His eyes are to the ground.
'Tis not long ago you would have been mine to play with. Ah. Well, how the tables turn.
With him saying that, Sky, his eyes will like slowly go up to meet his. What are you doing here if you're not one of our slavers?
I was, truth be told. I'm being punished. They say that I killed someone. And was caught. I am accused of murdering a fellow drow warrior. Apparently in a fit of madness. I don't recall it. Not that he was a good friend, but I think they are trying to discredit me.
I thought murder was celebrated within the drow.
No. Successful assassination. Of course. If nobody can prove it, if nobody witnessed it, then it is but a perfect way to rise through the ranks. But if you are caught, no, I will be sent to Menzoberranzan to be made an example of. The priestesses will, no doubt, find a way of raising me to Lady Lolth. I may even have the dishonor of becoming a Drider. A Drider, you would know, is half drow, half spider. It's a very painful process where the bottom half of the drow is given the body of a large spider, and they have their old memories wiped to live in sort of a drifting madness of service to Lady Lolth. They are incapable of disobeying their priestess masters. It is not a nice fate.
Jeez. Makes you almost feel bad for these guys.
He looks at you and, if you want to live slightly better down here, you could always earn your keep. Come to me if you're interested.
What exactly is he saying? What I think he's saying?
No, I don't think so. If that's what if you're implying what I think he is. No, he's suggesting that you can do tasks for him, and he may be able to better your life down here. For example, you might do his food, or fetch him things, or perhaps some more entertaining tasks of terrorizing other prisoners.
He is. He's asking me to be his prison wife.
Without the sexual favors, yes.
If that's the case, then what's the point?
Quite clearly, the tiefling is the sexual favor.
Yeah. No, but on a serious note, like this whole conversation, is very clear to see this guy is very uncomfortable speaking to him, even
So
if he
be.
isn't, one of the people in charge. So, I think I think I'm gonna go back to my brother.
Yeah, I'll when I notice you're getting pretty uncomfortable, I'll just call you over and say, Sky, there's some important sibling business here. Come.
Sareth looks over. Yeah. Another disappointment. At this point, your token keeps turning sideways. It's very distracting. Garrick, you'll find yourself with the two larger men. And Urgel looks at you, and Urgel is hungry. Do you want to eat some food? The food here is not very nice, but it keeps us big and strong, you know.
Yes. Let us go eat then.
And Ront turns to you, and the food is quite disgusting. But It is food. I go last and eat what's left. Go ahead without me. And Urgol will sort of head over towards the food with you. You can see Eldeth, although she doesn't... sorry, I haven't really put the cauldron down, but it's sort of over there. Eldeth is sort of standing nearby-ish. And each time anyone goes to drink, she sort of looks over. And seems to be almost monitoring them. It appears that she may be somewhat in charge of at least this area of prisoners. You see this sort of relationship developing. As you reach the side of the cauldron, she looks at you. Garrigan, don't take it all. I know that you orcs have no taste buds, and no sense of sharing.
I will sideline eye her briefly and harumph in displeasure.
Beautiful. Urgol reaches down and sort of fills the cup up as much as he physically can and sort of... Urgol is okay with this. It is not as bad as usual. And then he hands you the bowl and gestures for you to drink.
Alright, I mean, yeah. I'll grab the bowl, look inside, and grab myself a scoopful with the bowl, and prepare myself for what I may begin to eat, as I have noticed that some of the other new fellas seemingly gagging a bit, eating, so I will then eat it.
As you take your first mouthful, give me a con save. You do notice that something in the bowl seems to be wiggling. It's not very nice.
What is it? Oh, look at that, it's a 4.
Yeah, orcish you may be. Eating shit, not your fun. You take a sort of sip, straight away begin to vomit. Urgol looks down, sort of quite interested at your vomit. Sort of... Perhaps you have been eating too well. No. You will get used to it in time. I think.
Vile.
Runt looks over and... You're ashamed, or orc kind! Keep it down. Don't be an embarrassment. Stool sort of takes 2 steps away and... That's not nice. And keeps stepping backwards and eventually sort of just walks backwards into Zoroaster.
I'll look down at it, because I'm quite tall.
Yeah, and he's quite short.
Are you,
About 3 foot.
Are you okay, buddy?
Sorry, mister.
It's okay.
He's smelly.
Who's smelly?
The orky made the blood, and it's
well,
smelly.
sorry, you're making my neck hurt. Can I? And I'll like extend my hand to him.
To do what?
Hop on it like this.
He's 3 foot tall, Bruno.
Yeah.
That's your hip.
Yeah, I'm like this.
Yeah, but you can't have a dwarf on your hand. Like he's quite
Can
big.
I make a strength check?
No. He'll sort of look at you and he'll reach out and shake your hand. No, wait.
Oh, that,
you can't
no,
do
no.
that. He
If
doesn't
I
have any
can
feet.
pick him up, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, he'll sort of. But no, nothing more. No, he's big.
I'll
for-
pat him on his shoulders,
Cap. Yes.
cap, like awkwardly, and say, "You have nothing to worry about."
Oh, thanks. Hey, Mabel. And then Mabel sort of, hi. Stool. How are you? Yeah, I'm good. Jim Jar's gone. And Mabel, we really shouldn't take joy in that. But I suppose, given the way he treated you... Fair enough.
Oh? Was he unkind to you?
Stoll was the subject of many bets. Does he catch fire? Does he like the heat? Does he like the cold? Can he stand up again if he's upside down? You know. Does he bounce?
Perhaps you would like to sit around with us. I'm anti-gambling.
Oh. Okay. Sure, sir. Come on. And he turns around and waves to the Kuatoa, who comes on over.
Not me making a harem, session 1.
The Kuatoas. It would seem my friend has deemed you good company.
Well met.
Well met. He says nothing else.
I nudge Sky. I'm Zoroaster, and this is my brother.
My name's Guy. We should be grateful that that was him and not us.
I suppose that is one way of looking at it. We all die in the end. You should eat, you know. You don't want to starve down here. It is better to accept that which we have than wish for that we don't. As you say this, as he says this, Garrick, having managed to throw up most of your dinner, you will then be able to, sort of, if you want to, force down the rest of the food. If not, leave it for tomorrow.
I'll force down the rest. I'd like to not be starved,
The dwarf
even if it is shit.
gives you a grudging nod of admiration for your sort of both perseverance and your acceptance of the situation. And you find yourself next to Vela and next to Yum. As Vela turns to Yum, do you know any of the people you came with?
I'm afraid I do not.
Usually the new prisoners stay together. But you sought me out. Strange move.
You seemed one of the more kinder people in this cave.
Since
Bopido sort of... I think you may have made a misjudgment there. Yum, was it? She's a grave cleric, but she revels in death.
He tries to find solitude for the death, as far as I've seen.
Wait till you see how with the ones that are alive. That's what matters. Well, I suppose it could be worse. It could be the tiefling. And he sort of makes this sort of noise that's like a little clicky noise. And as soon as he does so, Topsy and Turvy begin to move down from the top. He walks over towards the main campfire. Sareth comes up and joins, although stands a little way away. Ront will come and stand over, and Stool and Shushar begin to leave, and Nebel turns to the two brothers, and we have a daily meeting. It's after dinner. You might... And then Nebel just sort of shrugs and wanders past and walks up to the edge of the fire. I keep calling it a fire. It's like a central big crystal.
I'll look at Sky as sort of like acknowledging that this meeting is happening, and I'm gonna head over to the pot, eat some food,
Make a con
and then I'll
save.
join. Not 20, 22.
Nice. Yeah, you've been in slavery a long time. You're quite used to bad food. Take a mouthful, so it's not very nice. And then push the rest down. Yep. And
It is what it is.
the only person who doesn't come to the center of the room, unless Sky is not. Sky, you... Zarasa, you said you were going to the pot. Are you... Yeah, cool. Sky, are you also joining at the center of the room?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, look, you've become one token. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, it's the tiefling who sort of walks up and down at the left-hand side of the room. Saying and sort of nothing, but... yeah, she's sort of pacing quite viciously. And Bopido looks round at everybody. Well, another day. As to those of you who are new, 'tis only 6 or 7 hours at our best guess until the next day of work. We are currently labouring on moving a lake. 'Tis not pleasant, but 'tis manageable. I assume, and he looks round, that none of you will be the reason anyone is punished. And, Eldeth sort of steps forward and, hey, then you. Don't start acting like you're in charge around here. Welcome, all of you. I think that most introductions have been done, but I'm Eldeth. We try and keep it a little civil down here. When there's... And then she sort of turns to Ront and then turns to Sareth. Trouble down here. You can find your own corners to sleep. It's not really easy to get comfortable down here, but most of us manage. She looks around, sort of expecting one of you to speak. Sorry, go on, Octavian.
Octavian is going to perhaps foolishly show his tinderbox and ask, is there anything we could use to make a fire? It's terribly unpleasant down here, and I think that would be something that could possibly lighten the mood.
You hear this and sort of slow laugh from the corner. The half-elf wants to make fire in the cave with no exit. Is it stupid? Do you want to smoke yourself to death? If you must smoke yourself to death, please do it while I am not in the chamber. Idiot.
I think now, with your words, the only time I would light a fire in here is with you in it.
Well, at least you've got some spunk. If not a brain. Well, you seem to have introduced yourself rather remarkably. What of the rest of you? Then he sort of glances to Sky, and we've met. But the rest of you... Go on, make it formal. You know you want to.
This is the drow, right?
It is, yes. And you will notice that everybody keeps their distance a little bit. Actually, with the exception of Mebble, who doesn't seem too phased by the drow.
So this is the guy that's kind of imposed himself as a bit of an authority down here?
Give me an insight check. See what you think. You've definitely noticed that Eldeth seems to be somewhat in charge. She's the dwarf around the campfire.
Got a 3.
Yeah. He seems like he's a drow. He seems smug.
Okay, well, upon his question, I'm just gonna ask him, what's it to you, sir?
Well, something's got to pass the time, doesn't it?
No.
I think we can do that without. I think we can do that without your unpleasant attitude.
The new ones always start with a voice, don't they? Don't worry, tomorrow will break you.
I'm gonna telepathically say to Zora, be careful, he's in here for murder.
And what's he gonna do? Kill us all?
You never know what drow are capable of.
Yeah, but he's as much of a prisoner as we are.
I don't think the people upstairs would want to lose too many workers now.
Sareth looks at you and they don't care what happens down here. You're just another prisoner, like the rest of us. Do you have a name?
I do. But to you, I will not reveal.
Very well. Awful. He looks to the orc and, care for a formal introduction?
You may call me Henrik.
Might I? Henrak it is. Not that hard, is it? I'm bored. He goes over to Nemea.
And you failed to tell us your name.
He looks over his shoulder. Sareth! Then he goes over to Nemea and he begins to sort of caress her and pull her in. And they begin to make out in the corner. That's nice, isn't it? No fucking shame, these people. Ront looks around and...
I do hate being so rude to people.
Ront looks over at you and sort of... You've made yourself no friends by nestling up to Vela and speaking ill to the drow. He might be rude, but he can get things down here. And for the first time you hear Topsy and Turvy speak. And I'm not going to do it because it's really difficult, but they have this really annoying habit that one starts speaking and the other one finishes, so from now on, Topsy and Turvy will pretty much speak as one person and they're separated. So sort of the first one goes, well, it strikes me, and the second one says, that perhaps you might, and then it sort of carries on. But they sort of speak up for the first time, and well, it strikes me that perhaps you should be careful and be friendly with everybody. While you're new.
I'm gonna lean over towards Yum and say, well, if you ask me, I think being rude is not the way to go. And maybe you have made a friend. I shouldn't have made that pause. I was pondering what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's so stupid of me. I'm so sorry.
Eldest sort of looks around and...
Yeah.
If we're going to escape, we're going to all have to cooperate. And as she says this, you just hear from the sort of the two that are making out in the corner, oh, not this again. The drow seems to believe that the drow are incapable of allowing a prisoner to escape, right? Basically. And Elda's sort of, well, if nothing else, I suppose we should get some rest. And as if she's just ended the meeting, people start moving off into their own corners. Mebble heads over there. Stool and the Kuatoa go and head over there as well for now. Vela heads into the corner where she begins talking in depth to a rock. Whether Yum follows or not, Vela seems not to notice. She's lost in the land of the dead for a while. Urgol and Ront return to their corner, where they seem to sort of spread out each. The prince seems to hold the point of the fire, and the twins return back up to the top of the cave. And as Bopido and Elder sort of confer for a moment, and then turn to Henrik. Say, you haven't been a prisoner a long time, or are you quite accustomed to down here? Henrik?
Oh, I forgot my own fucking last name. Sorry.
Well, you introduced yourself as Henrik instead of Garrig, right? So I got confused because you're like, you may call me Henrik, so I changed. He'll sort of ask you, have you been a prisoner a long time? This is Bopido speaking.
No. I don't plan it to be.
No, none of us planned to be. I just... Beg pardon, but you seem not a normal orc.
What sense?
Sorry, I missed that.
Not normal in what sense?
Well... You haven't started a fight yet. For example.
I suppose most would.
When Rond came down, he punched a gnome from one side of the room to the other.
I'm just kind of looking in the direction of Ron.
He seems capable of doing so.
What's your point then?
No, I'm just curious. Well, you'll be an asset to us when we attempt to escape. Will you?
Fine.
And at that, he sort of turns and walks away. Eldeth seems very uncomfortable with speaking to you, but has accepted that maybe you're not quite as annoying, foolish, stupid as the rest of you are not. And as it's time for the night, I guess, sleep. We shall take a short break. Oh, welcome back to the latter part of In the Darkness Lurks. And at the moment, what lurks in the darkness is you guys. You've probably been awake, most of you, for 17 to 19 hours. I just want to check, once everybody had eaten, did Yum go for the bowl, and did Sky participate in the eating?
No.
Okay. Sky's going to go without food today. Go ahead and give me a constitution check, Josh. With advantage because you have small stomach. Darth. Did Yum eat?
Yes, eventually.
So what would have happened is everybody would have taken their fill except for Ront, the orc. If you... and then he would have sort of gestured for you to eat before he then would pick up the cauldron. Go ahead and give me a con save. Josh, your con check.
Was a dirty 20.
Cool. You'll manage perfectly well on no food.
I rolled a 1.
Yeah, that's disgusting. It's even at second attempt, you really can't keep that down. And unfortunately, you end up being quietly sick in a corner. Maybe tomorrow will be less bad. Go on.
I'm gonna walk over to Yum after seeing this, and I'm gonna say, "Is this your first time?"
Yeah. Oh. Not how much I could add this.
I couldn't quite hear that.
Darth, I didn't get any of the words in that sentence.
I don't know how to hold on to this.
I sometimes find that you can eat some roots, like peel them back. They kind of remind me of cabbage. If you can't eat that, maybe find some roots.
Maybe.
Stool comes past...
I need a rest first.
Stool comes past Zoras and moves up to Yum and reaches down to these mushrooms to the right. and takes a small bit. If eat little bit mushroom, keep better.
Thank you.
Make not
Thank you,
sick.
kind.
Human people
Thank
eat.
you, kind fungus.
No problem. Human people eat.
I'm
It's good.
gonna pat him on the head again in a non-patronizing way because I intend to like
Lots of
give
people
a
seem to be okay with patting stool.
like pat him on the shoulder, but obviously I can only pat him on the head. So I'll pat him on the head and say, "Thanks, Stool.
No problem.
You're a real stool."
Thanks. And he sort of skips off back over to here.
I'll look at him and go like, I didn't know what to call him. Like I've never seen stool people, let alone spoke to them. Like what would I say? Way to go, buddy. Way to go, mushroom. Way to go, mechanoid.
Mechanoid?
Yes. I just refer to everyone in a neutral way. Less less room to get something wrong, in my experience.
How do you do that when he's a mushroom? Or she? They're a mushroom.
He.
He's a mushroom. That's not very neutral. He's a mushroom.
It
Stole.
doesn't change the way you interact with him based on everyone else.
No, that's not what I mean. It's like, how do we refer to the mushroom? He's like a talking mushroom. Am I going crazy? Like, okay, I need to check myself because I've never seen a talking mushroom, so I'm just confused.
Neither have I, but I have a feeling we're gonna see stranger things.
I suppose, yeah, that is true. So we must keep our calm and not let ourselves get hassled by these things.
I mean, I can deal with unrowdy people. You'd be surprised the amount of drunken people I have to deal with.
You can kind of see Zorus is taking a lot of deep breaths while you speak it, so you can take a pause, and he says, I don't think I remember the last time I saw someone drunk.
Eric will
I
kind
can't
of walk
exactly
into the
say
conversation.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
Hey,
sorry.
game, go.
I'm just saying that Garrett kind of walks near them as he listens in.
I mean, I can't exactly say it's a missed feeling, but more the atmosphere of it. You know, knowing you had something to do and the reward at the end just made it seem worthwhile.
As Garrick approaches, in the middle of the conversation, Zorus will say, "Well met, fellow newbie. We're discussing mindless things."
You've been in prison
Yeah,
long then.
the,
Sorry, game, didn't catch a word of that.
Sorry. You've been in prison long then. Ever
just
escaped?
just about a year myself.
I've
Not
been captive
as
before.
long as well here.
Sorry, you said you yourself. What was the rest of? Duff? What was the rest of your sentence? You said a year yourself.
A year myself, not as long as most here though.
And Bruno, you said.
Yeah, me too. I've been captive before.
As you're having that conversation, a shriek comes out from Vela. She starts sort of screaming wildly and apparently swatting at the air. Ront and Urgle begin to move across the room. unless anybody goes up to her, they'll continue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, they'll wait.
Yeah, I'll run towards her.
Okay. She's sort of.
I'll hold her down. Like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay?
She continues to scream wildly.
I'll cast Lay on Hands.
You can't. There's no magic here. Anti-magic field.
It's not a spell.
I play.
It's still magic, I think.
Can
I place my hands on her shoulders, turn her head to say, calm down, calm down. It's alright.
As you're holding her, Urgol sort of reaches round and just thumps her on the forehead. Not massively hard, but pretty solidly. And she sort of... I'm sorry.
Did you do that?
Upon seeing that, Octavian will walk over and say, I don't think there's any need for that.
It got her attention, didn't it? And Vela sort of looks over and... Oh, thank you. I was lost in a nightmare. It was
Very
worse than the real world. Oh, I didn't think that was possible.
Are you
Thanks,
feeling
Urgol.
okay now?
I don't think anyone feels okay down here. But I'm sadly back to the mortal plane. I think I'll sleep now. And she sort of sits down on the ground and begins to make herself up. If you let her go, sorry.
Yeah, of course.
I thought so. I figured you're not just going to hold her still.
No.
Yeah, she begins to sort of make herself a little bed area and lie down. Not asleep. Urgol looks at you. The silly girl, she get like that sometimes. It is good to hit. Then she go quiet.
No.
No.
Benny?
It is not good to go quiet. You like the noise that she makes.
No, I said, good to know.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought you just went, no! That's all we had.
Just no.
Just no. Urgol turns around and... Hopefully she stays asleep. Urgol, go back to bed. Steve just wanders off.
Thank you, Witty.
Runt turns around and... Well... It happens a lot. With her. No madder than the rest of us. Just... different. You notice that each time Urgol or Runt move, they always keep a little bit of a distance from Prince Sterendil. Everybody keeps a bit of distance from Prince Sterendil. But he seems quite personable whenever he comes near. Although he will only speak in Elvish, so if you don't speak Elvish, I'm afraid you won't be speaking to him. But other than that, people seem to go back to their beds and leave you four to your chat.
Back to our area, I guess.
I might have another idea in mind. And, Sky isn't here, is he?
Sky is with Yam and Garrick.
So the only one that isn't with us is...
Octavian's close.
Okay.
You're all pretty much in the same place, apart from you, actually. You're the only one who's not there.
No,
There you go.
I am. I promise.
You keep jumping out of walls. Like, stop that.
I have another idea, but first I would like to know what got each of you in here.
Drow.
Did you say row?
He said drow. Which is fairly accurate.
Very observant.
It's not wrong. I would have a similar answer. Would that not be the same answer for you?
It's as original as the first time.
What got you in there? Sorry, Bopido is listening in. He's gonna interact with that. He's just sort of, what got you in here then?
Well, we're not necessarily unfamiliar with these mines. Me and my brother, and I'll nod over to Sky. We've been captive before. We escaped for a while, and eventually it got back up to us. That's it. That's the story.
I don't think it really matters. Well, I shouldn't say that. It matters how we got here, but I don't think anyone is going to be here for, except for maybe the drow, anyone is going to be here for such a crime other than existing. I was merely traveling on a road when me and my group that I was with was attacked by drow, and I found myself here.
And where's the rest of your group?
I don't know. Most of them dead from what I saw. And most of them had some arms about them and did not go without a fight. I did not. And as such, I assumed that I was more fitting to be a slave than to die where I was.
Well, I'm
Who
sorry
was
to hear
the-
that.
Sorry, go on, Brunner.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's very tragic.
Josh, what did you say?
Who were the men that you were traveling with?
Men employed by my father, I believe. I
Who's your
was
father?
Orsaith Oberlin, patriarch of my family. I was to be married off to some lesser lord or whatnot. I don't know. I was very happy to be outside, I guess. I didn't really know the men I was traveling with. I think they might have even just been sellswords for all I knew. Just to take me from one place to another.
Then won't people be looking for you?
Oh, maybe. Depends how my father's feeling at the time.
Your father would just leave you here.
I'm one of hundreds. One of few illegitimate. I don't even know if I'm biologically related to my father. I could be my mother's.
That is even more tragic than before, to be quite frank. I don't quite know how to process that. Sky? Wait, as you react like that, I'll look over to him and say, Yum, maybe you wanna bring some kind of positive note to all of this? Maybe a silver lining? You seem to be good with words.
I don't think it's as tragic as you're making it out to be, but I appreciate your sympathies, I guess.
Bopido sort of leans over and, on the contrary, it seems pretty much shit in every sense of the word.
Oh, I grew up as rich as a man or any living being could be. I had most anything I wanted within my household as long as I
And now
had
you're
the
a
ability
slave
to
of
get
the
it.
drow. I think it quite tragic.
I guess so. To have everything and have it all taken away is something unkind, but as you said, though, there might be people looking for me, maybe, depending. Hope exists, though fleeting.
The hope is ourselves.
My hopes for a night's sleep. Are you going to shut up over there?
Sorry.
Eldeth.
First night of camp.
At least whisper. And with that, she encourages, and hopefully you will also encourage a night's
Go to
sleep.
sleep.
talk dies down. You can take a long rest if it's relevant, but I doubt it is.
I wake up. I'm a winter electrician.
Are you fuck?
No, not yet. I'm saving that.
Yeah, if you want to find a comfortable corner, it'll be approximately 5 hours before ding, 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 ding. This bell keeps ringing.
I wake up.
This is how cramped the cell actually is.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I didn't want to have us maneuvering around in this tiny little shitstorm. So, yeah. As this bell keeps ringing and ringing, slowly the door to the passage... Well, weirdly enough, actually, that passageway that you walked up then leads you into this sort of little holding cell. And the holding cell door slides open. A singular drow stands at the doorway. He's quite sort of strict. It looks quite... when I say strict, he's sort of he stands very tall and very straight. He sort of looks you all over and... He looks to Garrick. And he hands you a stick with a bit of sort of stickiness on the top. And he reaches out his hand and a torch comes to light in your hand. There you go. You are to carry the torch for all the prisoners that can't see as he begins to lead you away. You may all follow. Sorry, I need to open the doors. Don't I? Yes, you are led through a small chamber that has a little bit of light in it. And all the way down to a passageway over here. You can follow if you wish, guys, but the crux of it is eventually, as he leads you down these sort of spider-ridden pathways.
I'm sorry to intervene, but as we're going through the middle, there's the 3 drow there.
Yep.
Am I able to see if any of them have something like a ring on their hand?
They most definitely do. Quite a few. Most of them.
Can I, as we walk by, Octavian is going to, if possible, kind of reach out, and not in a threatening way, kind of almost in like a pathetic way, try and take one of them by the hand that has a ring on and hold their hand and be like, please, please don't put me to labor. I come from a rich family. I'll have you paid well. Just take care of me while I'm here in custody and ransom me off. And while I'm holding this person's hand, I'm going to try and take a ring off their hand.
Okay. As soon as you begin to speak, they speak to each other in Undercommon in Drow. You don't understand it, but the others do, as he calls you Iblith, meaning awful, literally living awful, that you have elven blood in you. He spits at you and pulls his hand away, and shoves you back with a pointed spear. You will take 5 points of piercing damage as he shoves at you.
But did he get the ring, though?
And give me a sleight of hand check.
All right.
Oh, I really hope you succeed, not gonna lie.
9 + 7, 16.
Yes!
As you try and take the ring from his finger, he kicks you to the ground. Looks at you, and then he says in very stilted common, "You slave, obey or die." And I'm afraid that you will spend today unconscious.
All right.
As he will kick you
What?
repetitively until you cannot...
Wait, no, as he starts kicking him, I'll go up to him and I'll speak in Underdark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, wait, he doesn't... He's new here. He doesn't
Think you
understand.
that we are unaware of that? Get
Yes.
back or suffer the same fate.
I'll look at Sky.
Sky will telepathically say to you, don't waste... Like, he'll say to you, basically, like, don't get caught up in a rich boy's problem. But, you know, in a fantasy way.
You will notice that all of the other prisoners have shuffled back into the holding cell, waiting for the problem to subside.
I'll just say, it would just be a shame to lose the prisoners' strength in today's work. We won't be able to work as hard.
He leans down and, in Undercommon, says, "'Twould be a shame if you lost your tongue, wouldn't it?"
Maybe roll persuasion?
No.
Hey, so I can't do anything. So I will...
No, you are a slave. He will look at you and play with his knife for a moment. Perhaps later. Perhaps we could put your tongue in tonight's stew. That might make it taste better, don't you think? At this, Bopido comes out and sort of very quietly says, "The newbie has life." And he puts something into the drow's hand. Smiles. Ushers on after you as he gets next to you, Zoroaster. He says, "You ought to be careful."
So he's the one that stopped this, basically.
No, but he's now telling you to be careful. No, but he did put something in the drow's hand. You don't know what.
What did you put in his hand?
He looks at you, sort of deciding if you're trustworthy. And he shakes his head. A tale for another time.
Okay. And I'll just drag Octavian away before he kicks him unconscious. Back into the
Oh no,
line.
Octavian is already unconscious.
Okay.
He was,
So that was all.
Yeah.
that's
Oh
kinda
yeah,
sad.
he's going to spend the entire day unconscious in the cell. As the rest of you will be led, I'm just going to sort of move you all if you don't mind, because it's just going to be quicker. Whoop. Down here. Where... come on, move. There we go. Boom. Fantastic. If you stick together quite carefully, you'll be led down a small corridor all the way to the northeast. You can move if you wish, but it's fairly irrelevant. Once you get down there, you are each handed a saucepan. Well, that's what it looks like to you. Sort of pan with a handle, and you are pointed at a lake. Up a series of rocks, and round the corner is a small recess, which is being dug out by some Quaggoth. If you remember Prince Derendel, he was a Quaggoth. These Quaggoths all look a little like this. They're not bigger, but I'm going to make them bigger just so that you can see their face. That's what they all look like. They're digging a pit, and you are tasked with moving the lake from down the path into this newly dug area. Saucepan by saucepan. Full.
I'll start.
We're doing a what with a what?
You are using saucepans to move a lake up a hill. Yes, that is what I said.
I'll start.
Yeah. The rest of the prisoners seem to take the same view. They pretty much get on with it immediately. None of them rush. They just continually pick up the pot, walk up the stairs. At one point, Vela begins to sort of start one of her daydreams, moving around. And quite swiftly, a drow is there with a scourge-headed whip to whip her into work. She comes to, and you notice at one point Mebel sort of helping her to focus on the task and sort of pushing her into doing it. About a quarter of the way through the day, Eldeth comes over to Zoroaster. And the new one was The new one was a little unwise, but you more so. Don't draw attention to yourself down here.
I'm a summer Eladrin.
She
That's
sort
it.
of looks at you like she doesn't understand what the hell you're on about, and well, you'll be a dead one if you're not careful.
I don't suppose you have some elderly advice? Not that I'm saying that you're old, I'm just referring to the amount of time you spent here.
Mouth closed. Work doing. Pretty much, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that always
Until we
seems
get
to be
our
the case.
escape.
This escape, you're the second person I've heard mention. What's happening?
I don't know yet, but I think it involves us cooperating. And she nods towards one of the guards who is watching you as you work. And, sorry. I am struggling to grab the... Where have I put them? There we go. Yeah. For the sake of it, we're just going to stay here because you're actually down the corridor, but it's not very, very relevant. And you see, standing up on the hill, Ilvara, the silken-robed lady that we previously talked about. And her companion. Her companion is Shor Vandry. Shor Vandry is a drow elite warrior. And the lady Eldeth will tell you that until recently, the favoured of Ilvara was someone else. Jordan. But now, Shor is the new favourite and lover. Jordan fell out of favour. He's a little young and a little arrogant, and isn't as attentive to the prisoners. She suggests that whatever escape plan might happen, oh, don't know what happened there. She suggests that whatever escape plan might happen will happen, should happen under Shaw's, what's the word? Watch, I guess is the right word.
I'll make sure the other newbies know.
Other than that, nothing will happen while Ilvara's around. She is a powerful priestess, and they seem not affected by the anti-magic fields. Their magic is sufficient enough to keep us all in check. Oh, my back aches.
Let me help. And I'll carry her saucepan for her.
She sort of grabs it off you really quickly and, hey, I'll be whipped.
Oh.
Let me keep it going. And she grabs it and she sort of... Come on we go. But thanks. Octavian. You wake in a cell on your own.
Very fun.
Male drow stands over you. Across one side of his face is a pattern of scars. He stands there with a very thin blade in his hand. And leans down to you and sort of puts it just under your chin. Morning, little fella.
Morning to you as well. Octavian's visibly shivering, holding where he was struck with the spear.
Lucky for you, imbecile, I speak your awful tongue. Did you have a plan with this? And he puts a ring in your hand.
Perhaps I did. You need know, I tell you.
'Twould be of great benefit to me if Shor Vandre was embarrassed. He's the lady's current favorite. Perhaps your plan will come to fruition. But alas, we must do some business first.
That being?
And he pushes you back a little bit, and your torture. I'm here to punish. And with that, he starts sort of laying into you with these blows that, even to your inexperienced eyes, should be hurting more than they are. He's very clearly being careful to pull the punches as they get close. And then
If I'm telling this, I'm also gonna try and play it up a bit as well.
Mm-hmm. And after a little while, he looks at you and... This'll make the most blood. And the least pain. And excruciating pain is immediately present as he makes 2 slashes just above your nipples on your chest. Blood begins to drip down you. And he sort of pushes on the wound, and it hurts. It really hurts. And he sort of says, I think that will suffice. He turns and walks out of the chamber, leaving you in the dark on your own.
Question. He didn't leave me with the ring, right?
He did. He did leave you with the ring.
Oh, he did? Okay, okay.
He did, however,
And
leave you in a
just-
pitch black cell, so you can't see it. But you know you're
That's
holding
fine,
it.
I have the ring. I have the ring. And he said he wanted to embarrass this new person that's with the head.
Specific
Okay.
name was Shor Vandre, which I will give you guys here, just so that you have it down.
Okay.
Who is Ilvara's current favorite. Ilvara is the priestess who shut you in that chamber originally, if you remember. She was the one who told you to obey and accept your fate. She also appears to be in charge of the outpost here. Just in case anybody's missed it, drow are matriarchal. The women are always in charge. The men are pretty much slaves to the female desires. After 13 hours of moving a lake from one place to another, you are able to return to the cell. Octavian is not present. But after about 10 minutes, Octavian... not for Octavian, 10 minutes for you guys. Octavian is sort of bundled into the chamber. Octavian, somebody finally came and opened the chamber. A small light candle in their hand, which they seem to be shielding away from them and not focusing on. Just a drow, well armored, a spear in his hand. He handles you very roughly, but doesn't particularly try and kill you. But yes, he sort of drags you up to your feet and hauls you down the hallway. He opens the chamber, shoves you in. And as you sort of spill into the chambers, you guys are able to sort of see Octavian being bundled in. It's fair to say, Octavian, you're probably here. Yeah.
I'll go over there and I'll help him up and I'll say, I'm sorry I couldn't do more.
It was not your choice for what I did. You need not do anything. But I appreciate your help now.
It's a very rash decision.
Rash decisions might be what gets us out of here. Nothing at all will let us rot and die. Now, I will say that I did not want it to go as it did. However, I think that may have brought us an opportunity, and Octavian's gonna hold up the ring I got. Now, can I get a description of this ring?
You
Does
can
it look
indeed.
important?
Well, drow wear lots of rings. You have a gold band within which sits a gem. In this darkness, it's a little difficult to tell exactly what it is, but it seems dark green in nature. Perhaps it's an emerald, you're not 100% sure. It certainly doesn't hold any sort of signet or signet marking, but it does look incredibly expensive. Then again, most of the things the drow wear look pretty expensive, and in fact, this could well have been on the hands of any one of you when you came in. Those of you with rich backgrounds who were captured very recently, but the point remains, right? Any prisoner who came in, it could well be, captured from them.
Okay. My initial plan was to try and lift a ring off a guard and maybe plant it on another like it had been stolen between them.
It's a conflict.
Exactly. Some of my siblings often would have steal items between each other, and it would be fierce fights all day for one person stealing another's hat or something as simple as that. My hope was that this ring might be of someone's important to someone or of some worth, and planting it on another would cause a conflict between the guards. However, I was unsuccessful in taking this ring, and the drow that punished me gave it back to me, making a request that I make a fool of the man who has the favor of the High Lady.
As you say that, Sareth sort of steps upwards, and Topsy and Turvy come a little closer. Sareth turns to you all. Drow politics.
Seems like it.
For Iblith, you are not as stupid as you look.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Drow politics and their consequences may be what gives you an opportunity to escape, if anything. If Jorlan gave you the ring back, then his anger with Shor and Elvara must be greater than I originally thought. Perhaps an opportunity for us all. But you look like shit. We should get some rest.
I feel like it too.
Let me look at the wounds.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a medicine check, because you, if Octavian allows you to have a closer look.
Octavian welcomes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give me a medicine check.
I gotta, let's see.
Yeah, that's great.
8. Yeah, great.
It's definitely bleeding.
As this like whole conversation is going on, Sky is like, he is stood with everyone, but he's like not stood like close to everyone. And he's kind of like, if you could say with a look, your recklessness is dangerous, that's the look he's giving Octavian.
Yeah.
Is this something I see, or?
Give me an insight check.
Yeah, Sky's not hiding it.
No, but give me an insight check, see if you understand the look. Because you are in sort of dim light, right, constantly. Topsy and Turvy look to the group of you, and your trouble could get us all killed. Keep yourself behaving, or do better at your stealing.
My insight check was a natural 20 plus 1.
Sick! Yeah, 100%. You know exactly what that look says.
Knowing exactly what that look says, Octavian is going to kind of go over to Sky and say, I know you don't approve of this, and we are mere strangers, but how long did you say yourself you were in bondage?
Long enough.
Exactly. 10 days has been long enough for me. I can't imagine more than this.
You hear
Sorry,
go on.
I don't want to live in here for another day, let alone a year. I will die with inaction, and maybe my brash actions may get me killed. I hope it brings nothing to you. But I think you would be nothing but an asset to my brash actions. And maybe you'd be able to quell me a bit and maybe bring some strategy to what we're doing.
And as you say that, there's a sort of creak at the door, and you hear the click of heels upon the ground as Elvara steps around the corner. She looks at you all and... settling in nicely, are we? She takes a little look at Octavian and... Jolan was gentle with you. And she takes her whip with 7 snake heads. And she sort of brushes it on your skin. And you feel the bite of a snake on your shoulder. Your entire shoulder begins to go numb and then starts racking with constant pain. She smiles. Dinner's up. She puts the cauldron down on the ground, as per usual. And then as she's walking away, she just says, "Give my love to Jim Jar." And she walks away. Those of you who are observant, if you look in the cooking pot, will see bits of Jim Jar. And with that, we shall end. MVPs. So, for those of you who are a little new, James, we have a tradition of MVPs. I normally would go backwards through the players. So we'd start with he who introduced himself last. But given your experience with our games, I'll start with Josh. Your MVP is an action, a moment, or something that happened in the session that you particularly enjoyed. Josh, your MVP.
So my MVP is actually Octavian. I really like his kind of brashness to the situation, and he's kind of I don't know, like just not very self-aware, you know, like walks up to the biggest guy and is like, my family will give you whatever you want if you get me out of here kind of attitude, you know. It's very fun to see, and very that kind of reckless stuff is very fun to play off of. So yeah.
Bruno?
So my MVP was also James, but it was a very specific moment, and it was when you were talking to the prince, and you were disgusted by him at first, but then when he was like, "Yeah, I'm a prince and I have money," you could kind of see a switch in you, and like I don't know why, but that was so impressive to me. And then you immediately started treating him like really nicely. I love that, like peak acting.
Again.
I guess this is a 3 for 1. I have to say your character Octavius. I liked him very much. Entertaining, certainly. So yeah.
Cool.
I just loved a lot of your moments. It was fun to watch.
Hey, done well today, James. So traditionally, an MVP doesn't have to actually be a person. It could be an action, a moment, something that scared you. It could be the crystal that sat in the middle of the room. You know, it really can be absolutely anything. Duff, is there a moment that stood out to you today?
I wouldn't. Octavius is defile on in the cage. Exact same reasons.
James,
Yeah,
can I add something?
of course you can.
That was the one that made me crack up when I was like, "Hey, any good parts in this? Any silver linings? Any positive thoughts?" And there was absolute silence.
Nothing. There was no good
Silence.
silver linings to your tragic story. Well, James, you could say yourself like everybody else did, but do you have anything else?
I wouldn't say myself, no. I'm kind of a sucker for the sibling relationship, and I really like I hope it develops more of the conversations in telepathically. I want to see just the most trash talk, the most...
The utter savagery behind the scenes, yes.
Just knowing that, like, that no one can hear what's this conversation happening. Because, we can all have our thoughts. We can all say these horrible things in our head. But to say something in your head and know that your sibling can hear it... I think that I really enjoy those sibling interactions. Also, I'm kind of a sucker too for the protective sibling angle. But
yeah, it's it's definitely a fun interaction. I too really like the sibling angles. I had to sort of go through people's character sheets rule by rule and be like, right, what works in anti-magic zone, what doesn't. And I did actually choose to leave the telepathy of the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer available, not because because I felt it enhanced the roleplay more than anything else. It was such an intrinsic part of Sky's character. It's one of the very few mechanics that I am going to let fly, because things like Wild Shape, Lay on Hands, which by technicality aren't spells, they're still magic, right? So Yeah. Again, like bardic inspiration, obviously I'd let happen because it's roleplay enhancing. So yeah, I really like the telepathic relationship too. It gives so much scope. I a sort of a slightly weird MVP, Bruno. I was expecting your character to be a little lively, I think, sort of with the summer thing, and then in the first moment of telepathy, Josh was like, "Who should we chat with?" And you were like, "There's a nice rock over there." I was like, "What the fuck, rude." Again, the second you opened your mouth with the voice, like especially given Nonnery's voice, that completely shocked me. So that was super cool. Absolutely loved that. Dav, I think Vela would have quietly spoken to a wall for the entire campaign if you hadn't gone and interacted with her, so I love that. You chose the most cuckoo person of all, and off you trotted straight away to be best friends. That was great, and I really liked the moment where you were like, you were reverted to service, right? Where you were like, let everybody else eat first, and yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch. And James, I'm not going to lie, if that was session 3, you may have just died. I will tell you that.
I was scared I might die.
Straight up, like, both you and Bruno, if that was session 3, like, there was a good chance I just cut your head off and done with it. The Jim Jar moment... Sorry, go on.
Octavian needed to learn. He needed to get hit. That's kind of the thing.
Well, that's why I was okay with it in session 1, and so did Bruno, right? So did Zoroaster, sorry. Needed to see that, actually, this is ruthless. I had hoped that the Jim Jar moment might give you enough warning, but I guess not.
Zorus knows this is ruthless. He's been through this before. He did what he did very, very knowingly of what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I did tell you to roll backup characters, but I didn't necessarily mean for session 2.
No, Octavian's definitely learnt a bit. He still wants to be brash, but I have a feeling the next time he's going to do something, he's going to remember that spear and that sword and that whip that have all touched him now. But he's definitely coming from a background, even where amongst somewhere where he's in danger, because of his nobility, he feels like he's untouchable.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely brings an interesting sort of line to things, and I'm not saying, don't do it. I'm just saying, like, you guys really did run the risk of dying. No, I really enjoyed it for a first session. I thought it was definitely nice to see everybody's characters sort of come to life. Obviously, we're going to do a lot more actual things. I'm not just going to put you in a cave and tell you that's the session for the rest of the campaign. Well, actually, I kind of am. It's just a bigger cave. But yes, it was a pleasure, guys. That is where we're going to end. So if you guys would like to say goodbye.
Bye.
Have a good time.
We shall see you soon.